Hello guys, this is how my nights are going lately. I've got a nice feature of a subscription to the cursor IDEA, and it's a text editor of choice. You can either use Visual Code, Windsurf, IDEA, cursor IDEA. It doesn't really matter much, it's up to you. Overall experience is approximately the same, but I prefer the nicer UI. That's how you can get most effective from that. The most important it's a wrapper around LLM models, and the LLM models, that's what give us biggest advantage. I personally not select specific one. I set everything on auto, and I haven't experienced any difference from that. Maybe it's because of lack of multiple tasks done. Maybe I'll see in the future the difference, but anyway, we get the new LLMs every few months, so you don't need to stick to something else, and we can move on with the subscription price with $20, right, of USD, or 16 if we do it yearly. It's a fraction of your earnings, but the tool value it provides is tremendous. I can't emphasize how happy I am being able to make my personal dream project for a fraction of original price. I still have been paying to my colleagues, teammates, to achieve the same results with this tool. I can do it myself, solo, and no longer need to exploitation of other people, laborers. In this world, I should pay maybe 10k USD dollar per year, and it wasn't comprehend for me. It was no go. And with the new cost of like a 100 USD dollar, I'll get it around 100 times cheaper, which is in order of magnitude much more cost effective and become possible. We live in intellectual abundance. The new system can show it to us. It's not scarcity. We can use that knowledge and intellect as much as we can, and it's the cost of it become less and less. You probably know that I'm a visual guy. That's why I started with playing my application from reusable pieces and components, putting those into variables together, and started with Storybook first, so I can show it to you soon what I have in my hand right now. So first things first, I've been dealing with structure. I can refactor it from time to time, and I can tell you what my current state is. So I prefer use terminal separately. So I have my own trusted terminal with me, and having everything running here. That I'm at my project sitting, but there are benefits of using the terminal inside IDEA itself, because that's how the IDEA can use this context from this terminal used. I've run it here, my storybook somewhere upper there, and he sees all the error bugs, so I can drag and drop it there, or doing this way. Where's my terminals? So I can choose that one specifically and refer that I have some storybook error messages, and I can fix it and ask it. So as you can see, through that time of months, I've been able to spend a big portion of my plan to limiting the value that Cursor company can take from me as from user, their profit as bare as minimum. I almost entirely spent my subscription plan, make my margin profit from me the smallest one. Let's see how much do I spend. So usage, it tells me how much tokens do I use and how much does it cost, but it's included into the coverage of the plan, so I don't need to pay extra for it. So I once paid and already received in after mode. It's saying like I've spent 140 USD dollar, but I think there are some agreements between big company so they can they bring users to them so they can grow. Obviously those LLM are not non-profit right now, I guess, and we're spending a lot of energy into our prompts. So yeah, that's my current situation with that. Today we're gonna look how I do work with my code base in the year 2025. I don't see any value to writing code yourself by hands. Sounds like barbaric unless you learn new skills or maybe support high risk legacy system that only need to roll up once in a half year. And testing everything in advance. So we need to push our limit, I think, to go another level of abstraction, because short story, at some point of time in the history we've been writing commands in the calculator and simply rewiring physically Kuprum wires to hardware based on the hardware to make it works, do some different results in the calculator. And then we used to binary punch card. It was like a brain fuck type of programming language. Then humanity invented the C language, where we need to adopt to it. So people need to learn weird syntax in order to make the machines to understand it, instead of doing it other way around. And finally we live in the world when machines can understand the natural language, the way you talk. It's become the programming language. And small reference, the most difficult part in the software development, it's not a hard skills like knowing where the semicolon are going. It's a communication skill and transaction cost between one mind, having thoughts and ideas, putting it to the mouse into Word, maybe sometimes writing it, and reviving the same that another person heard, to bring those ideas yet again to light up certain wires in the head. It's a hard skill to do, and we will learn it today. Obviously prompt text is the most important thing, and here are the interesting thoughts why we can ask our LLM to write a good prompt for us. For example, we can easily ask something from the modern LLM and to prepare for us some requirements how we're gonna ask other system to do. So we having short prompt initiating, it gives us bigger prompt with much details. We change those details and took this big prompt, the chunk of work that we want to address to our system. Okay, so I thought, I have doubted why I should even make this video. There are plenty of guidelines and videos in the internet already, And maybe I need to show you guys that regular human being as you are can do some stuff, and there are no mystery or hidden knowledge here. We only need to use the finest tools that we have in our drawers. So maybe let me introduce my project first. I guess that's what will be important, because for us as a human it's really important to see the patterns and how those patterns or approaches can be reused. For example, I set up rules. What type of shapes do I have in all my projects? I have 5 circular shapes. Specifically, the smallest one, it's not always the circle. Oopsie doopsie. It can be rectangular without, let me do that again, with round corners if I want to make it dim, or without round corner if I want to make it brighter, because we definitely not gonna see in Retina display those corners, but this pixel is much brighter than the other dots there, so I have my limits there. I choose my shapes based on specific reason, don't ask which, and that's how I got my this most important file called tokens. With the tokens we can have all our settings inside one file, which will be our source of truth. So my tokens sits in the JavaScript file, and it's eventually converted into CSS. It's not other way around, and I do use through the CSS these kind of variables for the dot 1 pixel, circle 4 pixels, circle 6 pixels, etc. It applies to every single aspect that I have. The visual components there, for example, width of the line is single pixel all the time, and for example gap small is 2 pixel and gap large is 40. So based on what I have in driven, so I drew first, I've decided how it will look. I have some limitation and or desires how I can manage to work to make it work that, and eventually what I've got this beautiful part only to dealing right now with Storybook. I'm not actually making the actual application itself right now, I only make it preparation work. So I will have all my tool in my hands, like maybe debugging tools and actual element that I wanna show, right? So I need the visual UI in order to demonstrate something. So we can go through them quickly. I will show you what I have at this moment. So we can go through the most basic one to the a little bit more complicated one. So the label is most simpler one, it's just a text, and as you can see I'm trying to keep as less as possible the controls in the Storybook. So I only have inside text, and I have control with only 5 allowed font variants, that's which actually do store it in my tokens as a separate file. I'm uploading the fonts themselves, and in the tokens I have this list of typography, and beyond this list of typography I'm not allowing to have any font size, any magic numbers in my project. That's how I can keep it nice and tight inside. So if I change this body to the title, you see the capital letter is changed, big digits changed the font itself, and digit small is the same but smaller, and code it's just for debugging, so I can see based on this Courier new call font that it's for me internally, that I need to hide on the production server later. Page is a simple thing. Title wrapper, just a regular thing that I don't even allow it to control my font, because title always will be shown in this font type. So I'm making my pieces from lower ground to the higher in hierarchy, and understanding obviously this UI title wrapper, reusing this UI label inside of it. Tooltip also is simple one. When I'm hovering, I'm getting this tooltip at the top. It's also for debugging purpose. And value display is the most that I'm proud of. For example, I have 1 and 2 million of something. I can put it into temperature, so I have temperature shortened like that. I can show it as a full with the digits. I can show it as a scientific, so 10 in power of +6, or maybe I can go in other direction and put a delimiter here and put it something here. So I have -6, -7, -8, -9, 10, whatever the temperature I want to show, whatever the distance I want to show, energy applies the same. So yeah, pica electron volt, it's just a regular electron volt, and this is mega electron volt. That's the thing that I want in sort of every project that I'm dealing with, to display some type of value in certain order without making without a hassle, just to throw it through the elements that always make my values nicer. Then I have primitives. We're already familiar with that. It's just a text representation of the size, so it's work similarly. I can put whatever the color I want there, but it's only applicable for the periodic table, and I often avoid using direct hex coded here, because I only have a list of my allowed hex coded sitting in my typography. This is my colors listed for that theme. This is occasionally use it. Yeah, I put it here, but logically it maybe needs to be sitting somewhere else. I will show you later. Then I have rectangles, nothing special. I have another type of rectangle, dash square, nothing special again. It can be whatever the allowed shape and color I want from it, and not allowed combination is just not possible to select from here. You have a playground, nothing special, and particles. That's where it's become complicated, because particle component, it's a component that's referred to itself, because if we look right now into this shiny thing, it's my electron actually. Muon is much powerful, and tau is even more powerful than electron, but we also have an anti-tau, which is opposite color. And we have quarks, just 6 pixel circles, and we have mesons. Mesons, it's a combination of quark and anti-quark, and if I choose meson charged pion, you see there are 2 distinguishable circles there that's sitting next to each other. I also apply the color to the quarks, red, green, blue, and anti-colors. We have colorless version, which we saw just recently. It's quantum chromodynamic, abbreviation says. And yeah, we have a pairs there, and I have baryons. Baryons, it's simply triplets of quarks. As you can see, I have even here the distance where the triplets are going. They are moving and bouncing later. Currently it's static, and here is the nice feature that I have there. Let me zoom in a little bit. When they overlap, they have a shape of darkening color there. They have interesting pattern of bluing sometimes, and that's how I get it from my documentation. So I keep everything nice and packed in my doc. And here the table, what I mark it as green. So when my QCD elements connect with each other, they become either white, either black, either gray. And so we have all the protons, neutrons, and other baryons. That's what it stands for. And from the UI perspective, we have different tabs. It will be used in handy later. I have a progress bar, just a simple thingy. It can be smaller, it can be bigger, whatever. And so I'm showing to you what all I have right now. So we together will create a new components, and you will see how easy it is. I have buttons. Okay, it has a complicated configuration because it has loading state. For example, I can click on progress and it start loading. It's not perfect. I need to a little bit adjust it to the way where the progress bar are loading. And guess what? For progress bar inside loading, I've used the how it was called. Yeah, UI progress bar. That's simple. So every component reused other components inside of them, nesting them. I have UI ruler, just another complicated stuff that logarithmically changing the distance that I'm scaling it right now, starting from 1 and beyond to infinity. And the most important thing that I have, it's a card itself. Currently it can display the with a particle or without, only the symbol, and I can choose from the list of my elements, quantum bottom, quark, tau, for example, and it's not goes beyond that threshold of a card. And I can change it to disable, just to grayed out, and can show it in the mid-size element. So it's kind of living situation there. And I have mesons, pairs, and actual atomic elements like oxygen, right? So I have it there. It's not exactly aligned. We will come to that difficulty later. Maybe I'll show it to you. So here are the atomic elements, here are the pairs of quarks. And the thing that I'm currently dealing with is actually the pagination. It sounds silly, but it is what it is. So I have simple paginators that I'm switching. The animation not quite nice, but I'm stopped working on it. It's good enough. It's my technical debt. I will work on it later. Here's my periodic table. Here's my simple pagination grid where I can choose the active elements. The same for pagination with the dashes. It's a mesons table, it's a baryon table, and yeah, periodic table. So moving from here, I have a short version and long version when I have them. Something missing here. Weird. I have big cards there, and I have micro cards there, and based on active index it's moving. So hydrogen is first and active index is first, and then I'm moving further and further. Yeah, there are mistakes. And today we're gonna look into one of the example how we're gonna fix this active index 57, but it will come soon. So what I have for you today, first thing first, we're closing our previous tabs because it is important to check how much percentage of tokens we're using, because if we reach our limit and there are threshold of 200k tokens per chat, and if we push it beyond and beyond, if writing multiple different features inside of this poor one chat, it will start hallucinate even more and you will get poorer and poorer results. So that's why we're gonna create a new one and start from scratch from there. So I have my nice and trusty tool here. I can start click on it and my speech will be converted to text. What a time to be alive. So I prefer to start my ticket in the bracket explaining some context to the IDE, basically LLM, so it will know at which part of the application we need to work with. So let me give it a try. In brackets visual, the number of protons in atom should be shown in the left bottom corner, and I need it for the particular component. I can drag and drop the name of component there, or I can reference it. I like to reference it like that. I just name the page what I'm sitting at. For example, I mean, in order to see it, we can see the oxygen. It has 8 at the bottom right corner, but I want it to be looking a little bit different, as you can see it maybe somewhere here. So that's what my target look of those cards are, and that's what I'm trying to achieve, to put the symbol below the circle and circle in somewhat in the middle of the card. The circles represent the different size of the nuclei, and we will start with simple task and move forward together to see how it achieve and how complex task it can make. So let's continue on. At the UI periodic table blocks, storybook default page. Yeah, it loves to have those brackets for this technical terms. It will definitely understand if there are no watermarks or there are this type of quotas. It doesn't really matter to it, but important to not call your variables with a single word or simple parameter. For example, as you can see, I'm trying to follow and use my properties with at least 2 words, like a block name elements, it's awful name, card size mode, or active element ID. So following that pattern, I'm actually defining it at my project rules. Here I have my rules set up for this project specifically. So I'm trying to use this enforce 2-word variable naming. Instead of active type color, we call it active is active, measurement type, text color. So that's how I can just use this text color and find in search exact the wording where it's used, and that's become much simpler life when I'm not looking for just the color. through the whole of my code. So it's come in handy to have a specific name. You can also configure actually the settings profile, settings, cursor settings. Here we have a memory with the rules. I have here the overall rules for the cursor application. Yeah, I've asked it, for example, for the storybook not to have only one page and not all the combination, but it's remain ignoring this rule. Maybe I need to emphasize it a little bit more to him so he can follow them. And you can put whatever good approach or maybe naming convention you prefer. So keep files under 500 lines. I don't care, actually. It could be as long as you want, but I copy pasted those rules from somewhere and it landed here. I'm fine with it for at least now. And I've, for example, specifically asked it to not use emoji because I hate it, because as long as you choose something like a GPT-5, it throw you those emoji all the time, and that's what can help to avoid those unwanted results. So where we are, we making a ticket to make a periodic table to be shown as I wanted it and not as it turns out to be. And let me find a good prompt that I've prepared. Yeah, let me throw it to here to not took your time. Yeah, so what I'm asking, I don't need average mass of the universe or the periodic table. What it means, if you're not familiar with, for example, if we have natrium, the periodic number 11, it says that the average weight through the whole universe is like a 22.9 in period, and I don't want this uneven numbers. I want whole numbers through the inside my system. You will see why those will be actually isotopes, specific isotopes, not just a rounded number. For example, hydrogen is almost exact as 1, but there are some proportion of other isotopes, and that's why I'm telling it some examples. I'm saying example and colon. I'm telling to giving my expectation of what I wanna receive. So I want to have my card for the periodic table to be shown as that. So we have natrium here, and the total number is 23, and the actual number of element is 11. It means 11 protons are there, and whatever the rest is neutrons. But turns out if 23 minus 11, it will give us 20. What? Who wrote that? It gives us 12. Okay, that's what I'm trying. We will get a 12 in the end. And then I'm asking to apply the same formula to the other period elements in the periodic table. I want, yeah, as I said, a specific isotope, and I'm asking to use UI label text with a property font text big in digit big, and to have some padding gaps. So I'm kind of separate the logic or maybe new component, that type of properties or controls that I run separately. Well, it can be kind of messed around. Yeah, I can took this whole prompt to ask ChatGPT to make it better, but I'm fine with it. I just choose agent, choose auto, and just go with it. It's like a YOLO mode. Do whatever it needs and do not mind me. So it start thinking. Super. I don't need to pay attention to it anymore. And while it doing so, I can look into the code, check what I like it or not, ask, for example, not to use inline styles like here or something. Oh yeah, color grade, I don't want it to be shown thrown it like this way. Or do I? Look, just reviewing my code while it's thinking and doing its own stuff. Is it working? Is it doing? No, I don't think it. Let's run it again. Weird. I've clicked probably something. Doesn't matter. It's doing its stuff and I'm doing my stuff. For example, when I'm navigating myself around, I can find, I will show it to you our next step here. Oh, I don't need the companions any longer. I don't need the stories. I want my data. Where is my data? Here's my data. And here I have my particle atomic data. And here's a good example that I will show to you soon. This is my list of periodic table. It's tried to make it more lint applied, and I've asked it deliberately not to mess with my JSON object of a periodic table. And it turns out it doesn't do it. This is weird. What's happening? Why it's not working? Sometimes it says weird errors, like they exceed amount of requests to particular LLM. Try again, because they like send it to the ChatGPT, but they internally limited. Okay, come on. I'm doing a presentation here. Do your stuff. I see it for the first time like that.